Arm for Life is an organisation here in Perth aimed at equipping teenagers for a healthy and resilient life. The program is run by Adam Priscilla, and he joins me on the phone. Hello, Adam. How are you? Thanks for coming on the show.
Really good. Thanks for having me.
So Arm for Life has been around since 2012. You've worked with over 276 schools across Perth and presented to over 850,000 students. What made you create Arm for Life, and what's your personal mission?
Basically, what caused me to create Arm for Life was my own experience. I struggled the whole way through 5 years of high school, was bullied every day, had school sustain and play camp, and my schools weren't great up my head. I'm left when I was 12 and dad to kids work, so I kind of grew up alone as well and didn't have any way to help or anyone to help the situation that I was facing. So I got out of school, realised I needed help the whole 5 years, and I didn't. So a seed was planted at a turning point that I had when I was 18, and that seed was, well, maybe I need to be this guy. So the mission is to really equip to deal with the problems that they're facing. Essentially, boils down to developing resilience and even kind of broadening out a bit to encompassing, bettering their general health and well-being as well.
So Arm for Life offers a variety of different sessions, including student sessions that cover topics like bullying, resilience and self-esteem. Do you think that talking about these things will help teens be more resilient?
Yeah, absolutely. When you kind of look at the correlation between all of those points, with self-esteem, I kind of see that as sitting at the centre of every topic that I talk about, because when you don't feel good about yourself, and that relates to depression or anxiety or any of those kinds of issues that you can have, you don't have the capacity to deal with problems well because you're just trying to get by day by day. And I've been through 3 periods of depression and anxiety, and in those, when you're in the thick of it, you can't manage problems well because you're already in pain. And that's just one example. Then when you talk about how you make decisions, resilience is very much about having the correct decision-making process and having a healthy decision-making process. And bullying and resilience are kind of on 2 separate sides of the same coin. Often students will say, I'm being bullied, and then when we kind of get into it, it's really that they're not managing the problem well, and they're kind of lacking resilience. But obviously they are actually being bullied. We have to tackle that a different way. But so many of the topics that I talk about are actually related to each other and linked.
So you also cover relationships and dating. Within this topic, what do you cover and how can it benefit students?
That's a huge deal, man. Like we just do it so wrong in our culture. Like you find out someone likes you and you only ask one question, are they hot? And that's it. And that's ridiculous way to get into a relationship, and I've made that mistake for 20 years of my life, and finally in a healthy relationship for the first time in my life, because I actually took my own advice and got to know the person first. And that's what we should be doing, getting to know what they're like. Is this the kind of person that I want to actually be in a relationship with, and looking for certain qualities. And I talk about 4 different things that healthy relationships have. And then if you're not in a relationship, that we should be figuring out what kind of person we want to be in a relationship with, asking the question, what would it be like to be in a relationship with me? And so kind of using some self-awareness and looking at ourselves, and then getting to a point where we don't need to be in a relationship. It's fine to want a relationship. Most people do. But when you need a relationship, once you get in the relationship, you need it. So we kind of break all that down and look at what healthy relationships look like. And it's such an important topic because very few things have the capacity to destroy us more than toxic, destructive relationships.
Very true. Another thing is the real men topic. It can be quite touchy and generally not talked about in our society. Do you think talking about this can help teens become men who respect themselves, each other, and women?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Absolutely. We have to talk about that kind of stuff. Like you look at, the rates of not just youth suicide, but suicide with adults, and people taking their own lives, and so high. When it comes, the statistics come to men. And so, when I talk about real men, I just talk about what it means to be a healthy man. That phrase kind of came from, being in a past relationship a long time ago, and she would say, at one point she said, you're not a real man, and that's just because I have this sensitive side, and and I have a emotional intelligence, and so I display emotions, and for me, it actually is a part of being a healthy man, the capacity to display emotions, and that's countercultural. That's against often what culture and movies and TV shows us, and so it's important to understand what it means to be a healthy man, owning your own issues and dealing with them, having the capacity to show self-control. And respect, for example, like having the capacity to show respect not just for ourselves, but, for everyone around us. Whether you like someone or not, everyone still deserves respect. It's the deepest need for a man to be respected. Yet, so it boggles my mind when people don't have the capacity to respect others. And especially when it comes to men respecting women, that's huge.
Yeah, so with the rise of pornography, what does the Real Men session cover to be able to combat the rise of pornography and ultimately addiction to it?
Yeah, well, when I talk about self-esteem, for example, I talk about how when we're in pain, we use coping mechanisms to medicate and to numb the pain. And that's where addictions come from. They start as coping mechanisms, things that engage that pleasure center of the brain. And so, for me, one of my 3 was pornography as a teenager. And the rollout effect was, 10 to 12 years, and impacted relationships and changed my perspective of women, my expectation in relationships. And so in the Real Men section, we cover that with self-control. And we talk about, both anger and pornography and how they link to this concept of being able to control ourselves and having that sense of self-control. And when we don't have it, that's when it kind of, lack of self-control rolls out into so many other areas of our lives. And pornography addiction in particular, because I've experienced it, I know how destructive it is. When you're looking at pornography, you get the same hit of dopamine as when you're high on heroin. That's how friggin' addictive it is. And that's why it's such a big issue nowadays. So I talk about it as much as I can because I think it's so important to have the discussion.
Indeed. Moving on now, Arm for Life has many sessions for teachers. Can you briefly go through what is mentioned and gone through in these sessions?
Yeah, we, look, when I started, it was all about students. It was specifically all about high school students, and I'm like, yep, what I'm going to do. And we started with 4 topics. There's now 30 different topics just for the high school students, from either schools saying, hey, can you do this? Or me seeing a need and going, well, we should tackle that. And now, beyond that, now we're doing about 7 or 8 topics for primary schools, and then there's about 10 topics for staff. And that came about, the idea or concept that, students, we're meant to be raised in communities. Not only do we not have communities, but we have broken families now. And so, to a degree, teachers can kind of fill that gap. It's an incredibly difficult job. It sits on the top of the list for the most stressful jobs that you can have. And so they need support and they need help. And that comes in the way of some of the sessions we run around, well-being or mental health or stress management. And then we look at things like, work-life balance, teaching Generation Z. So there's practical things there as well. And then we have really interactive sessions that we can run, even as far as neck and shoulder massages, or we have a comedian that can go in and do a stand-up comedy set, or having a yoga instructor that can run a session, or a PT that can go in and do a group training session, trying to cover a lot of those bases if it's a need in schools.
So Arm for Life also has camps for teenagers. What happened on these camps, and how can interested teens inquire about going on them?
I've got a background in doing camps 10 or 12 years, so I always tended to start a camp with Arm for Life. I started 2 years ago with a resilience and mental health camp that's actually coming up in 3 weeks. It's the second week of the July school holidays. We trek out to a campsite called the Paddock, and I choose that because of the activities. They've got paintballing, probably the best paintballing I've ever done, outdoor go-karting track. The activities are legit, so that's why we go there. But then we talk about those sections in the morning and at night, break in small groups and discuss them. And, camps are incredible ways to really, have in a short space of time, learn a lot and to grow and just be stretched. And then as of next year, we'll do a January camp as well, like a beach summer camp. It has been very different. The activities will be different. I mean, everyone loves, beach, most people, unless you hate sand. So, so that's, if people are interested, you can go on the website, which is armsforlife.com.au. And on that front homepage, there's the information on the camp, or they can email me at adam@armsforlife.com.au.
One more thing before you let you go, Adam. If teens need help with any matter, how can they contact you and the Arm for Life team?
Yeah, there's multiple ways. So we've set it up so that, we're very accessible. There's the website, which I just mentioned. You can jump on Facebook. We have a Facebook page. So just type in Arms for Life. There's an Instagram account. So you can go there, follow us, like us, send questions through there. I get questions every week through both of the social media sites. Or people can email me as well. The queries that go through the website come directly to my email. So there's lots of ways to make contact if students need help.